Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Today I'm going to show you how to program the seller's product activation and deactivation process. First I'll show you the process and I'll explain the codes. I'm going to my products. In the products section you can see the button in here. And to the right side of the button there's a text, make your product deactive. I'm going to show you this in the database. In the product table you can see the status ID in here. I'm going to show you the status table. Number 1 equal active, number 2 equal inactive. In the product table, you can see most of the products are inactive. You can deactivate the product by clicking this button. I'm going to deactivate some products and I'll show you in the database. If you deactivate the button, in here you can see make your product active. Load the database. You can see the products I deactivated. This is the process of activating and deactivating the process. Okay, now let's see the coding of this. The process is completely dynamic. It happens instantly using Ajax without reloading the whole page. We'll go through three main parts: the front-end structure in myProducts.php, the JavaScript function that sends the Ajax request, and finally the backend PHP script, change status process PHP, that updates the database. So let's start with myProducts.php. First I start the PHP session with session start and include my connection PHP file to connect the database. Then I check if the user session exists. This ensures that only logged in seller can access this page. If no session is found, the script redirects the user back to the home page. This makes the page secure, preventing an unauthorized access. At the top of the page, we have the seller header section. It shows the seller's profile picture, name, and email. All dynamically loaded from the session and database. The code checks if there is an uploaded profile image in the profile image table. If not, it displays a default icon. So this section personalizes the page for each seller. The page is divided into two main parts: the left side bar, which contains filter and sorting option, the right section, which displays all the seller's product in cards. Each product card has a title, image, price, quantity, and most importantly, the toggle switch that controls activation. Now here's the part where each product card is generated dynamically using PHP. I run a database query to fetch all products belonging to the logged-in seller. Then inside the for loop I use bootstrap cards to display the product image, title, price, and quantity. Most, but the most important element is the switch right here. Here's the deactivation switch. This is a bootstrap switch style checkbox. It calls the JavaScript function changeStatus whenever toggled and yet it passes the product's unique ID as an argument. The current state of the switch depends on the product status in the database. If if status ID is 1, the product is active. If it's 2, the product is inactive, and the checkbox is checked. The label below it changes dynamically too. It shows it shows whether the user is about to activate or deactivate the product. Let's let's move on to the JavaScript side. The function changeStatus runs whenever the switch is toggled. Here's what happens. A new form data object is created and the product ID is appended to it. An AJAX request is prepared using XML HTTP request. When the request completes, the response is checked. If it says deactivated or deactivated, the page reloads to show the update state. Otherwise, it shows an alert message if something went wrong. This function handles the front-end communication with the backend. Now let's see how the backend handles the request. First, the script connects to the database and retrieves the product's current status using its ID. Then it checks if a valid product exists. I found it fetches its current status ID. Here's the main logic. If the product is currently active, it updates the database and sets it to inactive. Otherwise, if it's inactive, it changes it back to active. After the update, it sends back a response text, either activated or deactivated, which is handled by the JavaScript. If the product doesn't exist or any error occurs, it prints a message like something went wrong. So the seller loads my products PHP and all products are fetched dynamically. Each product has a toggle switch bound to its ID. When the seller clicks the switch, JavaScript runs change status ID and sends the product ID to the backend using AJAX. The backend script change status process (PHP) updates the product status in the database. The backend responds with activated or deactivated. The JavaScript receives that response and reloads the page, showing the update product status. The entire flow happens without reloading the full page manually, thanks to Ajax. This activation-deactivation system is really important in e-commerce platforms. It allows sellers to manage stock visibility. For example, if a product goes out of stock, they can simply deactivate it instead of deleting it. It also keeps the interface faster and user-friendly because everything updates instantly. Finally, the frontend the, the, the frontend dynamically displays products with toggle switch. The JavaScript sends AJAX request without reloading the page. The backend updates the product status in the database and sends a response text. This completes a smooth and secure product activation and deactivation feature for sellers in the eShop system. Thank you for watching my presentation.